going to be part of this, so he'll be picking up the ball. Okay, so welcome everybody. This is Thursday. What's the date, Darren?
The third.
Okay, good.
February. March.
Okay, good. March 3rd, 2016. We're here in Las Vegas, and you're not. You're in California. So yesterday was sort of an historic day in that the owner of the Neonopolis went to LA and met with Nolan Bushnell about a project. And one of the projects was Neonopolis, which is what? Ed, what is Neonopolis? Jesus, what is Neonopolis? Okay, what is Neonopolis, Kevin?
It's the thing downtown.
It's that thing downtown. Right, that is what? Dead, right?
Dead.
It's a 300,000 square foot shopping complex that Prudential Insurance built about 15 years ago, and it's 85% vacant. The owner bought it out of bankruptcy for about 10 cents on the dollar. So he got it for about $30 million. And he's been trying to get things to make it work. We brought Nolan Bushnell there, and Nolan Bushnell did what Nolan Bushnell does, which is come up with new ways to do things that people are interested in. So back in the early 70s, he came up with a thing that was a different way for people in bars to have entertainment. So let's say in 1968, if you walked into a bar, what forms of entertainment were there? 1968.
Darts.
Not so much. Pool.
Hardwood.
What?
Hard.
In a bar?
Yeah.
Not really.
No. But gambling was illegal.
Yeah, that was back in the Wild West.
Yeah. What year are we in?
We're talking about 1969, not 1869. 1969. What kind of entertainment? How about a jukebox? Pinball machine? Shuffleboard? Okay. Video game? No video games. So if you were in a bar and you wanted to have entertainment, you could play pool, you could play a pinball machine. Some places had shuffleboard, some places had dart machines, and a jukebox. So Nolan Bushnell said, interesting problem. Let me come up with something new. A video game. So he invented Pong.
Oh, yeah, remember that.
Later, when Pong machines and video games were making a lot of money, Nolan said, we're on the wrong end of this business. We only sell the machines for $2,000, and people put them in a restaurant and they make $30,000. We need to get in the side where we're getting the money. So he said, how can I do that? And he said, well, let me come up with this idea where families will take their kids for birthdays and stuff, and they'll play games. What do I know? Families there where I'll create these robots and I'll do this stuff and I'll make it this really fun place and I'll call it Coyote Jacks.
That's over at what, Rainbow
Okay. We'll call it Coyote Jacks. We'll call it Coyote Jacks Pizza. So he went at a show and he bought a costume that people would dress up in. That was a coyote. He sent it back to Atari and said, okay, make a robot to go inside of this. Kind of like at Disneyland, the Jungle Book ride, whatever. And then he called back a couple days later and said, okay, did you get the coyote outfit? And they said, what coyote outfit? I said, well, the coyote outfit that I sent you. And they said, no, you didn't send a coyote outfit. You didn't send a coyote outfit. That was a rat. You sent a rat outfit. And he said, well, why do you think it was a rat? I said, well, for one thing, it had a long pink tail. So now he had a problem that he had this pizza thing that he was going to call Coyote Jack's, but he bought a rat. And so they decided they're going to change it from Coyote Jack's to some kind of a rat. And the guys at Atari said, you can't have a restaurant with rat in the name. Nobody will eat it. So he said, okay, come up with a name. And they said, okay, well, let's come up with a 3-smile name. And what is that name? Chuck E. Cheese, right. That's what's called the 3-smile name. So Nolan believes that when you come up with the business, you got to start with a good name. And so his newest one is called Snap. And it is to teach people how to go into business for themselves. Because Nolan says the best thing you can do is be your own boss.
True.
Don't work for somebody else because you're going to get paid wholesale. They're not going to pay you what you're worth because they're going to make money off of you. And also, when you are an employee, you're in a subservient position. You're not equal. First of all, it starts with going to people and asking them for a job. If you own your own business, you don't ask people for a job. You offer them a service that will make their life easier or better. Just started this business, and I'd like to give you the opportunity to be one of my first customers. Here's how it's going to make your life better. Doesn't that sound better than saying, would you please hire me? Okay. And you're saying, would you please hire me? Who has the power? Who's the boss?
Hold on. What?
When you go in and you say somebody, would you please hire me? Who's in charge? Yeah. So they're above you. You're subservient. If you go in and say, I just started a business, I'd like you to have the opportunity to be one of my first customers. I have a service that you would be interested in. Now who's the boss? Yeah, you're the boss. Or at least you're equal. I have something, you have money, or whatever. So Nolan thinks everybody should be their own boss. Now, let me ask this question in California. Dennis, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, so let's ask the people in California. When you are in high school, there comes a point in time where you don't go back to high school, right? Right, Brittany? There's a time you don't go back. Maybe you graduate, maybe you drop out, maybe, there's a lot of things. Okay, so what are your choices? What's one thing you can do when you're not going to go back to high school? What's one of the things you can do?
Community college.
Okay, college. So that could be university, community college, continue with higher education. What's another thing you can do when you get out of work? Okay, what's another thing?
Military.
Military. Okay, what's another thing?
Beach bum.
What?
I said beach bum.
Okay,
No, seriously.
nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Some people do that. What's another thing? Jail, prison.
You
Okay,
open your own business.
That'll be the downfall.
okay. Well, okay, you could do that. So those are basically the things that people do when they get out. And in Clark County, I think the number is 16 to 19,000 people every year come to this point in their life where next year they're not going back to high school. And so Nolan looked at this the same way he looked at entertainment in bars or entertainment with families, is what can we do that's different? And his idea was, we'll add in not Johnny Rockets.
I keep thinking that.
Okay. So he came up with an idea of a new type of education that teaches people how to start their own business. Now, college, who knows what it costs to go to UNLV per year? Okay, so on their website, if you live at home, it costs $16,000. Tuition, books, parking, meals during the day when you're at school, $16,000 per year. And only 60% of the people graduate in 4 years. And only, if you take out teachers and engineers, only 10% of the people who graduate actually do work in what they got their diploma in. So they spend $96,000 to get a diploma in something they're not going to do unless they're a teacher or engineer. And the first 2 years of school, you're not learning anything important. So at the end, when you get out, you owe $96,000 or you owe a lot of money, and you probably aren't going to use it anywhere. So Nolan's alternative is we're going to charge $6,000 to go to SNAP. And it's 1 year. At the end of that year, you will own your own business, whatever business you want to own. Whatever business you want to do, you're going to work for 1 year to learn everything you need to know to do that business. And some things that you might not want to know, but you really need to know, like business law, like accounting, like HR, in addition to the things that people think they know, like social media. You're going to learn these things, you're going to have your business, and you will go out and be successful in your business. Or you might say, here's the business I want to get in, but I really do need more education. So now I'm going to go back to school. And instead of going to school and not knowing why I'm going to school or what I'm going to do when I get out, I know exactly what I want to do. These are the classes I'm going to take in school because this is what I need to learn to be able to do my business. So that has been going on for a while, and we've got a lot of exciting things happening in San Diego, in Las Vegas. As John said, Tony Hsieh, who's the CEO of Zappos, sold it to Amazon. He's going to be providing housing, dormitories. The owner of Neonopolis is providing the space. That's where it's going to be. Frank Bonanno is going to be hiring people so they have jobs while they're going to school that can help, or actually it works out that it can pay their whole tuition. Yesterday, when Nolan was, because of his meeting with Josie, he said, okay, well, we need to open a campus in LA. Also, we need to have a campus in LA because there's too many people that are saying we want to do this. We can't just do Las Vegas. And that's like when he did the video game, when he came out with Pong, what he wanted to do originally was create a game and go to the pinball machine manufacturers and say, hey, there's a better thing. Why don't you license it from me? I want to be a game designer. You license these things and you make the games because you already make pinball machines. So you have manufacturing plants, you have distribution, you have finance, you have repair service, you have all that. So why don't you license the game? And they said no. So Nolan had to get into the manufacturing business in order to get his game out. But then what happened is when Pong became successful and it was doing more money in one day than a pinball machine was generating in a week, Nolan said, wow, here's my problem now. If I can't build machines and supply all of these bars, I just showed the pinball guys what? I showed them how to do it. I showed them a successful game. If I can't supply the market, somebody else is going to come in and supply the market. So Atari became a manufacturer, and they got very good at that. So we're kind of in that situation with Snap, is that the idea was we're just going to start in Las Vegas. We're going to see what happens. But now what he found out yesterday, or what he decided yesterday, was we can't just start in Las Vegas. We have to also start in Los Angeles. And then we have to be prepared to open campuses wherever there's a market, because Snap is a viable alternative to spending a lot of money and wasting a lot of time going to college. It's a better alternative than just going to work where you don't really have skills, right? You get out of high school, if you've never worked, you don't have skills. It's a viable alternative to joining the military. It's certainly better than going to prison. And most people don't really have a fulfilling life if they're doing nothing. Kind of one of the things we got from these TED Talks is people are curious, and very few people like to just end up doing nothing. Most people do nothing because they can't do something. Most people don't decide to just do nothing, just sit down on the street and watch life go by. Most people want to participate in life, and you have to have money. So there's a great opportunity for the students in LA, which is to become part of SNAP.
Excuse me, Ed, what does SNAP stand for?
Okay, good. Excellent question, because so one of the things Nolan does when he comes up with names is he wants it to be rememberable.
Right.
And 9 out of 10 people, when they hear the word SNAP, the first thing they say is, what does that stand for? That helps you remember it, right? When you ask a question, SNAP, what does that stand for? As opposed to somebody says, Hetza Petza, and you say, oh, okay. Las Vegas School. Oh, okay. What's the name of the school? It's called Las Vegas School. Oh, okay. What's the name of the school? SNAP. SNAP? What does SNAP stand for? It doesn't stand for anything. It's an automatopoeia. It's a word that is a sound, like ouch, bang, bop, bop. Okay? That's what it is. It doesn't stand for anything. But it can be put on a sign, it can be put on hats, shirts, all kinds of stuff, and be easily read. So like Larson Training Centers is not easy to put on a sign or hats or shirts because the letters have to be small. SNAP is a thing that's out, is not like that. So anyway, that's the long 20-minute talk about interesting things that are happening, that Larson is in on the ground floor, and maybe our students, it's something of interest for our students. Maybe it's something of interest for people that our students know. Maybe you have kids, nephews, nieces, friends, grandchildren that are going to be getting out of high school. They don't really know what they want to do, but they know they don't want them to do nothing. They don't want them to go to prison or jail. So it's either military, work, or college. And there's an interesting thing about college. Most people who went to college feel they have a duty for their kids to go to college too. Do you believe that? Do you believe that, Brittany?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. How about you, Jesus? If you went to college, you feel you have a duty that your kids have to at least be as good as you. Okay? Huh? Okay. So, but then it gets up to, okay, well, if you send them to UNLV, that's going to be now $96,000 probably. They'll probably end up owing $50,000 when they graduate. Whereas with SNAP, you don't owe anything, or you owe $6,000 at the most. And for the next 5 years, you're making money. When you graduate from college, after 6 years, you might owe $50,000. If you do SNAP, at the end of year 2, you're now ahead of the game because you have a business and you're making money. Or you went to school and you're going to finance it, but it's not going to take you 6 years. It's not going to take you 5 years. It might take you 4 years. Or you might say, you know what, I don't need to get a diploma from school. These are the courses I need to know. I need to learn this stuff. The only place I can learn it is at UNLV or CSN or wherever. That's the only place I can learn it. So once I learn that, I'm going to do it and I'm going to go make money. Does anybody know what college the richest guy in the world graduated from?
Harvard.
Good guess. He dropped out of college. Who's that? Who's the richest guy in the world?
Okay.
Bill Gates. Dropped out of Harvard. Said, I don't need this. What school did Steve Jobs graduate from? Good guess. He dropped out of college after the first year. Said, I don't need this. But if you watch he gave a graduation speech at Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
And he said he went to an expensive school in Oregon called Reed, and he felt very guilty because he was spending the money that his parents had taken his whole life to save for him to go to college, he was spending on something that made no sense to him. So what he did for a year is he kept going to classes without being a student. And they didn't kick him out. They liked him. They put up with him. He was a motivated guy, but he didn't graduate either. So the point is, if you did SNAP, had a plan, and said, okay, well, I need to learn certain things because I can't really be successful in my business unless I know these things, then a strategy would be to go to college to learn those things and then leave and go back to your business because you learned what you need to learn. Now, another interesting thing Nolan said is no school gives you a better education than YouTube. No university.
That's a fact.
Harvard, Stanford, because those systems are set up that you have what Nolan calls a talking head in front of the room. And every professor at Harvard is not the best guy in the world on the subject. And in your first 2 years of college, you don't see those people anyway. Who you have teaching the class is a graduate student who's a student who's getting their PhD in the subject. So if you go to Harvard and you have a class and here's the professor, he's not in class and there could be 150 other kids in the class. So even if he was the talking head in front of the class, you're not going to get to see him. But on YouTube, you can get, whatever subject you're interested in, there's something on YouTube that will probably give you a better education, or Coursera, something we looked at last week, or Khan Academy, those things. So you can get a better education off the internet than you can going to school. So, but again, to summarize, SNAP is a thing. This is what's the date?
Third.
March 3rd. So remember, March 3rd, 20 years from now, when you see SNAP campuses all over the world, remember that you were here the day that before it started, that you found out about it and were told this is something you should seriously consider. You get to be your own boss and you're not going to be in debt. And for people in California, maybe you know somebody that's going to be getting out of high school. Maybe you know somebody that got out of high school, they're working, but they don't have skills. They're going to college. And so in terms of I went to college, so my kids have to go to college. Otherwise, I'm a loser if my kids don't go to college. If I can say, well, they went to Nolan Bushnell's SNAP thing, to me, that's a viable alternative. Because Nolan Bushnell is a guy who's fundamentally changed life twice. Once with video games, that was the lead into home computers. Does anybody remember the Atari 2600 game station? Okay, they had a game station, a console that you put cartridges in and you could play games at home. They just started doing word processing. And then he sold the company to Time Warner and they went in a different direction. And Atari, they made some bad decisions at Time Warner after Nolan sold it. So for me, somebody that has kids, if I could say, yeah, well, my kids went to Nolan Bushnell's school and I saved $90,000 and my kids now have their own business, I don't feel bad at all. Nolan's kids, only a couple of them went to college. The boys that are very successful that have their own businesses, they didn't go to college because they learned what they needed to learn from their dad at home and, all the stuff he did. So, okay, so let's talk about.
One quick question, Ed. When
Yeah.
are they expecting to come to Los Angeles area?
Recruiting is going to start in April and classes will start in summer camps will start in June and regular school will start at the end of August, September.
They have a site?
I think the site is on Imperial Highway in Santa Fe Springs. Seriously, that could be where the first campus is in LA.
Okay.
Because,
All right, well, just keep us posted.
okay.
people would want to know. That's a good thing to start your own business.
Yep. So, in all of this, we have to give credit to Dennis and Rose because the campus in LA, so for the new people here that don't know, our LA campus is what provides the money for everybody to be here. The state does not pay any money for anybody in here to come here. The agencies that have money to pay, like in California, agencies pay. All of our students in California their tuition is paid by a state or federal agency. Department of Labor, if you are a post office worker, VA, if you're a vocational rehab veteran, workforce connections, county things, agencies, city agencies, their tuition is paid. Here, the agencies that have money will not pay any money for anybody who's been to prison. Because they say no one is going to hire you anyway. So you don't need to learn the skills to get a job because no one's going to hire you. Except the problem with that is this school has the highest placement rate in the state of Nevada. Over 85%. So it's not true that people don't hire people who are ex-felons. It's not true. What's true is people don't hire people who don't have skills. That's what's true. This is the opportunity to learn skills that other people don't have. But we're only here because Dennis and Rose are doing what they do over there. And the extra money that is generated doesn't go in their pockets, or we don't hire extra staff in California. We don't take the money and put it in our pocket here and just sit back and say, boy, we own this school, it's a cash cow. Now we get to have nice cars, wear nice suits, have a nice cane to walk around. We don't do that here. We use that money to have a school, and so everybody here gets to go to school free. Casa Grande doesn't pay 1 cent. Department of Corrections doesn't pay anything. State of Nevada doesn't pay anything. The federal government doesn't pay anything. Those people in California are the ones who make it possible for you to go to school here. And so in terms of this is the kind of person you want to be. Somebody who's trustworthy, not somebody who says, what can I get away with? Because eventually you don't get away with it anyway. Once people don't trust you, don't believe you, you can't say, well, give me another chance. You're not that way. So anyway, I don't know why we were talking about that, but we'll move forward to Gmail.
You were just thanking.
I was thanking Rose and Dennis for the good work they do and all the students in California, because when you go back to your caseworkers talking about how helpful Rose and Dennis were in the education you got, especially the cloud stuff, which makes you different from every other school, they continue to send us students. And Rose has been there for 20 years. Rose started as a student. She's been there for 20 years, and every month counselors just continue to send people because they have confidence in Rose. And Dennis, you started what, 2 years ago, 2014?
Yeah, 14. So I've been here like 2 years now.
So Dennis started as a student. And what agency did you come in from, Dennis?
I came through the VET, Re-Education Assistance, VREP,
Okay.
Veterans Education Assistance Program.
The Voc Rehab?
It was, a Re-Education Assistance Program for veterans. I was Air Force.
Okay, so that's where Dennis came in from. And so the staff there are former students who like it. Phyllis was a student here. That was what, 20 years ago?
Feels like it.
It feels like it, okay. All right, so Gmail. So the important thing we want to get across in Gmail, everybody please go open up your Gmail. How do we do that, Darren?
Go to the 9 square.
9 square grid, right, exactly. So go to the 9 square grid in the upper right-hand corner of Chrome or the application you're in. Click on that, and you will see mail. Looks like M-mail. You'll see that. Click on that, and it will open Gmail. Okay, is your Gmail open?
Are you okay? You good?
Your Gmail open? You have an email from me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Gmail, Edward, Tony, Constance? Okay. Okay, now here's an important thing to know about Gmail. If somebody sends you an email, Kevin, that says, hey, how about we meet for lunch next Tuesday? What do you do today to let them know yes?
Right back to him.
Well, how do you write back? What's that called?
Reply.
Reply. Okay. How do you do it, Brittany? Tyrell,
Say it again.
how do you do it? If somebody sends you an email that says, hey, let's meet for lunch next Tuesday. How do you let them know, okay? Okay. So you're not really big on email, right? Okay. Are you? Are you? Okay. How do you do it?
Well, I'd have to check my calendar and see if I was available on Tuesday.
Yeah.
How do you let them know? No. How do you let them know?
I think I click on compose and email them
Okay.
back and tell
No,
them.
that would be the last thing.
Okay, then.
Because they sent you an email. So Kevin said, I hit reply. Brittany said, I hit reply. Hey, Jesus, what do you say? He forgot. What do you say, Edward? Okay. He doesn't know. Edward graduated from here. He was in like the second or third class that came here. He did this every day for 16 weeks. The point is you have to use it or you're going to lose it. That's just how our brains work. If we don't build a strong neural network, strong connections, we're not going to remember. Okay, so Kevin and Brittany were right in terms of that's how people do it. I didn't say how should you do it. I said how do you do it? That's how people do it. Gmail has a feature that makes it much better. Okay, so from now on, we need to get in the habit of we don't reply. If somebody sends an email that says something about doing something in the future, we don't hit reply. Because what happens when you hit reply, you say, okay, great, Tuesday, next Tuesday we'll meet at 11. Okay, now what do you have to do in order to remember it? Well, you're not going to remember. We're not going to remember. We have to write it down somewhere, right? So you're going to have a little notepad like people used to have, a little day calendar you keep in your pocket? No, nobody does that anymore, right? Are you going to go to your calendar on your smartphone and say, oh, okay, I just sent that email. I'm looking at these other emails. I got to remember to go back and add an event. You going to do that? That's what you should do. Most people don't do that. Okay? Because most people don't know how to use Gmail as professionals. So go to an email. Here's one from Lieutenant Scally. Go to an email, like an email from me, open it up. Okay. Now let's pretend the email said, hey, let's go have lunch. Let's meet next week for lunch. Instead of hitting reply, which is this arrow here, right? Does everybody know how to do reply to an email? Okay, so here in Gmail, you have this little arrow. What's to the right of the arrow? A little down button, right? It gives you other options. Open chat, filter message, print, delete, lock, report spam, phishing, show original, message, text garble, translate, mark as unread. That's a powerful tool in Word, in Gmail. Okay. Open an email. Just open an email from me or somebody else. Okay, so Brittany, do you have it? You open an email. Okay, good. Kevin's helping. Find an email and click on it and open it. Okay, you're in your email, right? I'll go back. You're in your email. It looks like this, right? Just click on an email.
This one, I see this right here. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Does everybody have an email open? Darren? Sandra?
Yes, I do.
You do, you, Tyrell, Brittany, okay. Now, if it's an email that says, let's do something in the future, instead of hitting reply, which is this, what I want you to do is click on more. Everybody see the more button? Click on more. And a box will open up. What does the third one from the bottom say? Create event. Hit the more button here. Create event. Now let's click on that.
So create an event, huh? Let's see.
Now, what just happened, Brittany?
Let's see. Let's go back to the email. And see if we can go to.
Now, do you know what this is in?
Google.
Oh,
Google what?
Apps.
This is your calendar. Okay. So what it did is it went to your calendar.
Let's go to your social email. See if we can.
Okay, now look over here under the guest. It is
Go.
the person who invited you. What this is going to do is it's going to put something on your calendar and send them a reply right then.
In the more button. In the more
So you don't have to reply and then remember to go to your calendar.
button.
More, create event. It's going to open your calendar. And up here in this box, you type in what I like to do is find something and it copies the email into this section here. So I took the email, copied it in there. But you start at the top and you put in something. So if he said, how about lunch next Tuesday? You might type in up here, lunch meeting. Then you pick the day, calendar pops up. Okay, next Tuesday, that's the date. Time, 12. And what time's it going to end? Great. Where? Let's say I say Pizza Rock. Okay, it comes up with Pizza Rock. I click that in. This gives me the option if I can add it to any of my calendars. I'll leave it on there. I can type in more here, more stuff.
Ed, if they're not seeing the create event in the more button, what do you think may be causing that?
Okay, so what causes that is they don't have the right type of email open.
Oh, okay, okay. So you have to
Get an email from somebody, not a notification.
have a notification. So that's the reason. Okay,
So find an email from somebody or Dennis, send them an email.
that's all. That's all. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you can add or take away from here.
Don't have the right type, right? Okay, so as you get your emails and people start sending you things with events,
If you want to
when that more button
add somebody,
will be there. But like you say, you don't have the right type of email. Okay.
start typing their name over here. You add them and it says, here's who we're going to send invitations to. Here's who we're going to notify. Or I don't want to notify that person or that person. And there's some other things that you can do here. But as soon as I click save, this pops up and says added background checks Tuesday, March 8th at 12 p.m. So let's go to Tuesday, March 8th. Guess what's there? Here's the event. I'm going to delete the event. Now, so what does the other person get? They get an email right? Like they would have gotten if I had hit reply, except this one gives them the opportunity to say yes or no. Then I get a reply back saying, here's who's going to be there. That's what this one is from Lieutenant Scally. It says accepted. I sent him an invitation for something for our meeting on Friday.
Okay, then just,
He accepted it.
just send it to
Okay,
us.
so let's do an example here.
Yeah, just send it.
Okay, so Brittany. Okay.
Oh.
Kendra. Well. Phyllis. Dennis. I Elton, Steve, Suits. Yeah, I think that needs to be right.
You have to treat it like
Okay. So now I just am sending everybody an email.
that's what it is. We have to create an event to send it, and then you'll be able to create that event from that. They have to create an event to send it to, like he invites us to, that type of thing.
Send. Okay, so now everybody refresh, and you should all have an email from me. So how do you refresh, Sandra?
I'll know exactly.
How do you refresh?
F5.
Okay, F5 or what?
I don't think we have to.
Or you could click on this here,
Oh, okay.
or you can click on inbox, or you can click this right here. There's always more than one way to do things. Now, Yesware is open and it says somebody just opened that email.
Hmm. Who's that?
Nothing on there.
I don't have it either.
Now try it. Is your email ltccg.brittany.021716? Okay. So you'll have it.
Yep.
Give it a chance.
Okay.
Okay. Now, instead of somebody
I
else
got it.
just opened it. Somebody else.
Yes.
Okay. Now
Well, go on.
open it up. Open it up. And now what are you supposed to do?
Pencil it in.
Pencil it in, add the calendar.
Okay. Okay. So go ahead and do that. Accept.
Try it now or to go to the calendar.
Well, whatever the thing says to accept it.
Right.
Got it now.
At the time.
Enter calendar, create one. Not right. That is.
Okay, so do you have it, Brittany? Irel, Kevin, Sandra?
Yes.
How about Darren?
Yeah, it looks like Darren, you got just we have. You're all right.
Okay, so everybody accepted.
Oh. Creative event.
Behind.
That's right.
No. Once we have it open, the email open, we go to more, correct?
No, you're accepting it. You're accepting the email. I invited you to an event. Oh, actually, I take that back. Open up the email.
All right, it's open.
So this is a new feature. Gmail, some people here might remember watching these, a TED Talk about deep learning, where computers can read emails now. So this thing, pencil it in. It adds it to your calendar, but it didn't notify me. I don't think. I'll go check. But so what I want you to do is do you have it open? Open, is it open, Darren? Open the email. Now, go up here to create event. More, click more, and click create event.
Susan.
Hmm? So you see there over on the right side, everybody it was sent to, right? Okay. So now what you need to do is create the event for the time that I say. And what time? So Dennis, I sent it to you also. So if you want to forward it to everyone else.
Okay. I'm really not at my computer, but okay. You just add the yes where to it.
Okay. So I said, how about going to next Wednesday's Hangout on Air? So you should now be creating that event. So if you click on more and then you click create event, it said next Wednesday. What's the date of next Wednesday?
9.
Right,
10th.
9th.
All right.
So you would be on the 9th. The Hangout on Air is what we do at 10. So you should create an event for next Wednesday, the 9th at 10 o'clock.
Enter what?
Let's say 10 to 10:50.
Oh, so we do the,
Okay, 10:30. You can type in any number you want. You could type in 10:32, but just do 10:30, whatever. Okay,
10:30 to,
to 11. That part doesn't matter. And then when you're done, Larson, type in Larson training, and you'll see it pop up.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Okay, let's see who's the first person that's going to reply.
He highlighted, she highlighted this. And then she pasted it up here with the bar. Copy and
You got it, Jesus?
pasted it up there. There you go. And then,
Change the date and the time.
9, 10.
Thank Brittany Hanfield. Brittany was first.
And save.
Save it.
Yeah.
Don't
Mhm. And it's going to, box is going to pop up and say send invitation, right? Send the invitation. Jesus, okay. I see Jesus's.
Oh, I
It
didn't, I
notifies
pushed
me.
don't send. Was that to send the invitation back to you or something?
Yeah.
Sure. Send it.
And then and then go to your day and then.
So you're waiting for him?
Okay, so in California, we're gonna wrap it up. I know this is everybody's Friday there.
Right.
Thank you for being there. Okay, Kevin?
Thank you. And just keep us posted on the school.
What?
I said, keep us posted on Snap.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
I like that. I like the message.
And Francisco,
I'm going to this.
yes, where is Francisco?
he's right here.
Point the camera at Francisco.
And right click,
Please.
paste,
Oh, here we go.
you're there. Now change the date, the calendar.
I don't see him.
I don't know about all that. There
There
he
he
is.
is.
And
Okay. Okay, Francisco, so we'll get started on Monday again, all right? We had people in from Rome not people, a person in from Rome this week. And so I just couldn't keep up with all of that, okay? Are you still doing 95th Street? You still doing 95th Street? Okay, good. All right. Okay, everyone, thank you. Let's have our break.
Have a good weekend.
Ready? Well, we have school tomorrow. Tomorrow's our test day.
Well, we will.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, bye, everyone.